I'm Stephanie, and today's nutrition topic for cancer prevention will deal with food safety and cooking techniques. This might sound like a boring topic, but it is important for many reasons and often doesn't get the attention it deserves. We will discuss keeping foods safe to eat, including tips for how to handle fresh foods and proper cooking temperatures. The method used for cooking foods is important in cancer prevention too, as is the type of container you reheat your foods in. So listen up. No matter what you do in the kitchen, it's always important to wash your hands with warm, soapy water for at least 20 seconds. How long is that? Here's an easy reminder. Sing the happy birthday song 2 times. That should do it. Let's start by going to the fridge. Make sure your refrigerator is set properly by checking that the temperature inside is at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Did you know that the safest way to thaw frozen meat is in the fridge? Plan ahead and put a pound of frozen ground beef in the refrigerator the night before you need it. Thawing at room temperature is not recommended. And once food has been defrosted, it should not be frozen again. Keep raw meat sealed and separated from other foods in the fridge. Putting thawed meat in a dish to catch the drips is a smart idea. Make sure to put perishable foods in the refrigerator within 2 hours of buying or preparing them. Eggs, cream, or mayo-based foods shouldn't be out for more than 1 hour. Any fresh produce that you clean or cut should be put into the fridge within 2 hours. If you're transporting perishable foods, use a cooler with ice or ice gel packs to keep the food cool. And some things are just best to avoid. Raw sprouts are one of them. Either cook them or forget about them. If a fruit or vegetable seems slimy or moldy, toss it. Do you see cracks in your eggs? Don't use it. Does something smell or look questionable? In the garbage it goes. Let's move over to the kitchen counter. Always make sure to rinse off all raw fruits and vegetables before peeling or cutting. No need to use soap. A veggie scrubber can make it easier if the food has a thick, rough skin. Leafy greens can be tricky. Run one at a time under running water is the easiest. Even those bags of pre-washed lettuce packages, it's safest to rinse them one more time. A colander or salad spinner can make this easier. Let's talk about cross-contamination. Always use a clean knife to cut different foods. A knife used to cut raw chicken breast should be washed well before cutting up raw carrots. Same thing for cutting boards. It's best to use one cutting board for fresh produce and a different one for cutting raw meat. And make sure to wash them with hot, soapy water or use a bleach and water solution. If you're grilling, it's important to use a clean plate for cooked meats. When you're opening canned foods, it's not a bad idea to wash the top of them before you open them. Who knows what has touched it? If you're tasting food as you're cooking, make sure not to put the same utensil back into the food. Let's move over to the oven. It's extra important that food is cooked well. Using a meat thermometer in the thickest part of the food is the best way to test for doneness. I will run through some numbers now, but you can find all of this on a simple search online. Cook beef, veal, pork, lamb to 145, ground meats to 160, poultry is 165, egg dishes 160, leftovers and casseroles 165, and fish with fins to 145. Fried foods such as French fries and breaded items are of concern when discussing cancer prevention. The high heat reacts with sugars in the food to produce a chemical, acrylamide, which is listed in the probable carcinogen by the Agency of Research on Cancer. To reduce your risk of cancer, it is recommended to use cooking methods other than frying, such as baking or poaching. Grilling and smoking meats also involve a chemical reaction that produces known cancer-causing compounds, so it is important to remember to use the cooking methods in moderation. Limiting the amount of fried foods you eat also helps you keep a healthy weight, which has proved important in cancer prevention. Moving to the microwave. If you're cooking in a microwave with no turntable, rotate the dish a quarter turn once or twice to prevent cold spots, which is where bacteria could be. Stir often so it cooks evenly. Reheating foods in the microwave should be done in a glass container as opposed to plastic ones, as possible and probable carcinogens are released from the plastic into the food that is being reheated. You may have heard of phthalate or bisphenol A contamination, which is what we are talking about here. And on the topic of cookware, Teflon-coated pans can release a substance, PFOA, into the food that is listed in the possible carcinogens. To reduce your cancer risk, choose metal or glass containers for cooking and storing foods. When at the grocery store, perishable foods have a sell-by or use-by date on them. Make sure what you are buying is not out of date and that you will be able to consume the product in time. Pick the freshest products. Check your eggs for cracks before you buy them. Look for fruits and vegetables that are unblemished. Packaged and canned items shouldn't be damaged or dented, but properly sealed. Try to get your frozen and refrigerated foods at the end of your shopping trip so that they stay the coolest. And once home, refrigerate or freeze groceries right away. I hope a few of these tips were helpful and you learned something new. When keeping food safe to eat, a little extra effort can go a long way.
Hello, I am Rebecca and I'm a dietitian with the Kenosha County WIC program at the Racine Kenosha Community Action Agency. I will briefly go over some of the food safety principles you just learned about and apply them to the foods WIC clients receive, though these tips can be helpful to anyone. Possibly the most valuable item on the WIC food package are the fruits and vegetables. Did you know you can buy fresh, frozen, or canned items? Look for dents on any canned foods and wash the lids before opening them. Anything not used should be stored in the fridge once opened, preferably in a glass container. Frozen items are a great way to purchase fruits and vegetables without worrying about them going bad. Put them in the freezer as soon as you get home. When buying fresh items like packaged lettuce, check the printed date and pick the one that's most fresh. Consider rinsing things that say they are pre-rinsed and try to avoid bruised produce. Juices that are bought on the shelf should be refrigerated once opened. Whole grain products tend to spoil quicker than their white counterparts. Keep them longer by storing in the fridge or freezer. Milk, yogurt, and cheese should be stored in the fridge and be used by the date on the package. Some products like milk, though, have a sell-by date printed, and this is different and can be consumed beyond that date. Also, check for mold growing on cheese. The WIC program aims to help young families raise healthy eaters. You are free to speak with a nutritionist for any questions you have related to healthy eating and feeding young children or using your WIC food benefits. Just call us at 262-657-0840. So how would you like to practice food safety this week? Here are some things to consider. Wash your hands before handling any food. Bake or poach meats instead of frying them. Check your fridge temperature. Discard expired items. And reheat leftovers in glass containers. That's all for this week.